Hey YouTube, this is Gary with Liberty Road Defense Pistol Training, and this is another Mindset Monday. And today we're going to talk about the combat mindset. It's all over the YouTube channels, all the different channels, guys talking about combat mindset, but I want to clear some things up. Today specifically, as far as the combat mindset, we're going to talk about breaking down mental barriers that have been programmed into you since you were a child. Okay, so what is the combat mindset? Simply put, the combat mindset is the mental attitude that says, I will not die. I don't care if my assailant dies, but I will not give up. Okay, the combat mindset is the idea that I will continue to fight until there's nothing left in me to fight. Okay. Now, so what we want to talk about is the barriers that keep us from having a combat mindset. Because the truth is, inside of each and every person on the face of this planet is a fighter. Is someone who is capable of taking a human life to defend their own life. Okay? The idea that you are supposed to lay down and die when someone attacks you is a fallacy of logic. That's the biggest load of crap I ever heard in my life. But the powers that be, whether it's the government or college professors, sociologists, even religion, ingrain in everybody, and I won't speak for other countries, but in this country, ingrain in everybody from childhood that fighting is bad, that killing is bad, and that defending yourself is bad. Okay? Today's schools, the victim of a violent attack is just as guilty as the assailant. That's what they're teaching our kids in these schools. I read an article a couple of days ago about a girl, 10-year-old girl, who is wearing a cross. That's part of her normal jewelry that she wears to school. 10-year-old girl wearing a cross gets the shit beat out of her by a Muslim student. And all I hear is, well, she incited him. That was her fault because she shouldn't have wore the cross because it was offensive to the Muslim. That's total bullshit. That is total bullshit. Because when you say that, what you're saying is the people who are willing to kill, the people who are willing to attack you for whatever reason they can find, get the final say. Though you are supporting the idea that violence decides what's right and wrong. Violence doesn't decide what's right and wrong. Right and wrong is decided before violence happens. Okay, so deep down in everybody, every person is a fighter. Someone who is capable of the acts of violence necessary to defend themselves in a violent encounter. Okay? And yes, there are some people, a small minority, who are not capable of that, who are cowards. Because in my book, if you're not willing to defend yourself, if you're willing to lay down and let someone take your life from you, you're a coward. If you're not willing to do the right thing, if you're not willing to stand up for what's right, if you don't believe in justice, you're a coward. Okay? Simply put. But that's a small minority of people. Okay? So, let's talk about breaking these down. The easiest way to understand how to break these down, and the easiest way to get this undone in your head, is to understand that all of those people who are teaching you violence doesn't solve anything, and fighting is wrong, and just do what you're told and everything will be okay, and God doesn't like this. All of those people have one thing in common. They want to control you. They want you. They want to make you do what they want you to do. Right or wrong. Okay? As far as the government control is concerned, the very people who are saying violence doesn't solve anything are sending massive quantities of weapons to violent countries. Violence doesn't solve anything. Navy SEALs have a saying that, contrary to what your mama taught you, violence does indeed solve problems. Okay? I think I got that from Chris Kyle. So, and that's right, yes, violence does solve problems. When you're faced with a violent situation, the only thing that will solve that problem is violence. Okay? Pacifism isn't an option when you're getting your ass kicked. Okay, church. The church wants to control you. What is the church today all about? Now, I am not talking, when I say the church, I am not talking about good Christian people who follow the teachings of Christ, who understand what Christ was here for, who understand the nature of God, and who try to live a godly life. Those are not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the leadership of the church. I'm talking about the hierarchy of the church, the rulers of the church. Those are who I'm talking about. And what is their function? What is their agenda? They want your money. So they're going to tell you that whatever they have to tell you to keep you, A, from leaving them, B, from stopping sending money, and C, from attacking them. Because they know what they're teaching you is wrong. And they know that anybody in their right mind would burn the place down. So it's a matter of control. Education, let's talk about these college professors. It blows my mind, some of the crap I see coming out of education. Absolutely blows my mind. These people preach one thing and do another. They condemn one group for doing something while supporting another group who's doing the exact same thing, and they'll do the exact same thing themselves. Okay? They have no sense of honor and justice and integrity. They're there to teach you. They're there to control you. They are there to teach you how not to be a fighter. Okay? So, it's an uphill climb. Combat mindset is simply put, I'm not going to die. I'm going to fight. I'm not going to let somebody take my stuff. I'm going to fight. I'm not going to let somebody harm my family. I'm going to fight. And if necessary, I'm going to kill that guy. Okay? But it's a little bit different. The combat mindset, one caveat with the combat mindset. It's not that when you are in a violent confrontation, it's not that you intend to kill that person. It's that you don't care if that person dies or not. Okay? Your intent is to stop that person from doing the violence that they're doing. And if they die, so be it. If they don't, so be it. I don't care. You know, if somebody's hurting a member of my family, I do not care if that person lives or dies. But they will stop. So, I think that's probably it for one more thing I wanted to talk about with this one. The idea of the first responder. Okay? Let me explain something to you. Let's look at 9/11. 3 airplanes are in the air. Terrorists have hijacked 3 airplanes in the air. Okay? 2 of them flew into the World Trade Center. Not a single person on those planes had the combat mindset. Otherwise, that wouldn't have happened. 1 of them flew into a field in Pennsylvania. Somebody on that plane had a combat mindset. It only takes one person with a combat mindset to lead a group of others. One person to stand up and say no, and others will fall in behind him and say no as well. Okay, so that's something that you have to consider. You have a plane of what, 200 people, and not a single person on that plane stood up to the terrorists? How does that even happen? I'll tell you how it happens. You've been programmed since you were a child not to. You've been programmed since you were a child that that person with a gun has moral authority. So, work on that. Understand that when a person tries to take your life, they have forfeited theirs. Your life is a gift from God. No one else has a say in the matter. And when someone tries to take your gift from God away from you, you are justified in God to do whatever is necessary, including taking their life, to defend yours. Okay, so on 9/11, we have 4 planes. 2 crash into the World Trade Center, 1 crashes into the Pentagon, and 1 crashes into a field. And from all accounts, the one that crashed into the field was different than the other 3. The other 3, not a single person on board those planes had a combat mindset and decided that they were not going to die that day, and they were not going to allow these people to kill everyone on board. The plane that crashed into Pennsylvania, into the ground in Pennsylvania, it had first responders. It had people with combat mindsets. And I call them first responders because the reality of the matter is the intended victim is always the first responder. This is the person who always has an opportunity to stop whatever violent act is about to occur. Now, you have your first responder. This is not to take anything away from the police or the firefighters or the EMTs or anybody else that is a traditional first responder. But the idea that they're the only first responders is, again, a fallacy of logic. The victim, the intended victim of the violent act, is the first responder. Consider these things. Home invasions. You're sitting in your living room with your family watching TV, eating popcorn, and some thugs come in and kick your front door in. Who is in a better position to respond to that act of violence that is about to occur? You or the police? Okay? You're in a mall. You and your family are shopping for whatever you're shopping for, and someone decides to start killing innocent people. Who is in a better position to respond to that violent act? The police or the people in the mall? Okay? A carjacking. You're getting in your car, and a criminal comes with a gun to take your car away from you by force. They will kill you if necessary. They may kill you if it's not necessary. Who is in a better position to respond to that threat? You or the police officer? That's why I say at the end of a lot of my videos, remember, you can choose to be a victim or you can choose to be your own first responder. Because reality says the first responder is the first person who has the ability to stop the threat. And it's always the intended victim. Okay? So for Combat Mindset and Mindset Monday, this is Gary with Liberty Road Defensive Pistol Training. Please like, share, and subscribe. Give me some comments. Tell me what you think. Hopefully a lot of you see things the same way I do. If not, we'll work on it.